right, those that just came in, that little questionnaire, if you checked the thing for a gold ore sample, we've had some of those cut, and we'll have those delivered to you if your address and you check, say, I want a piece of that gold ore. It's a pretty little piece of, the guy's cutting it up. He's been selling rock shows and doing real well. People love his little piece of gold ore. He's been sliced up. Well, each of you get a free copy or a piece of that if you'll check that. Okay. I think we'll go ahead and start. Should we dim the lights just a little bit? All right. Well, I gave a presentation a couple weeks ago up in Cedar City, and the question that came back is, how do we join this TMA, this Toyabe Mining Association Cooperative? So that's part of what we're presenting today, and also, what is the respective return? If you get some of these mining claims, what do you think you're going to get out of it? And so that's kind of what we're going to try to answer today a little bit. Toyabe website, this you'll see, this is the Toyabe Mountains. Toyabe is one of the most majestic mountains in central Nevada. It also is a Native American word for mountain. So that's why we decided to call it Toyabe Mining Association. The purpose is help American citizens stake mining claims. Any American citizen can own a mining claim if you have locatable minerals and it's on lands open for location. Everybody can own mining claims in America, any American citizen. So how do you join TMA? Just real 4 simple steps. You tell TMA how many claims you want. You can have 1 or 100 or 1,000. Sign membership agreement. You pay the invoice for the staking claims by the number of claims you order up. And then you have an annual maintenance fee. That's just the 4 steps to join TMA. Real simple. How many claims? You have to have at least 1 claim to become a member of TMA. You have as many claims you want. They're $1,000 each for the first 1,000 claims. That's for the founding members. After that, they go to 2,000 and higher. The number of claims determines the number of votes you'll have. This is a cooperative. It's a non-profit cooperative, a Nevada non-profit cooperative. At the end of each year, it has to distribute all its money to its members, and a little bit of overhead, or a management expense. The rest of it all goes to the members. And the number of claims that the members get to vote on the board of directors. So you all direct, whoever has the claims essentially directs this mining co-op. I'm temporarily the president. I'll step down in December when we have the votes. Hopefully the board of directors will appoint new leadership for the mining association. And then also, the number of claims you have depends on how much money you want to make. Each claim, everybody has claims, and everybody divides the resources proportionally to how many claims you have. You have 100 claims, the guy over here has 1, you'll have 100 times more than he has when the money comes in for the money's distributed into the year. Okay, so this is where's the money, where's the staking fees go, these $1,000. 80% goes to Cedar Strat for the expense of staking the claims, also partial compensation for the millions of dollars that I spent to find this location in the first place. You're getting these things for pennies on the dollar to be able to have a mining claim. Also, we're retaining 10% for referral rewards. So if anybody joins the cooperative and refers others, you get, it depends on how many claims you have, you get a percent of any referrals you make to join the TMA. And then about 10% will retain for management, TMA management. Annual maintenance. You have to have at least 1 claim. You have to maintain that annually to stay a member. Annual maintenance fee for the first 1,000 claims is $350 a year to maintain them. And after that, the next 1,000 claims will be $500 a claim to maintain your claims. So you get them cheap, but you have to keep that pay. A few years ago, BLM changed the mining law. Originally, it was just to do $100 worth of assessment work every year. BLM wanted to make money on it, so that's why they passed these new laws to pay the fees to BLM. Okay, on the maintenance fees, 90% goes to maintenance, and then 10% goes to administrative costs. Okay, so to sign the membership agreement when you get one, there's just simple, when you look at the second page, it'll tell you go to page 17, just sign it. On page 20, we have to have a notary notarized because the BLM requires a notarized notarized power of attorney to be able for TMA to serve as your agent for the mining claims. And you can send it either by hard copy, or you can send it by email, or any way you can deliver it back to TMA. I signed the membership agreement. All the members agree to share equally in the claim. So if one guy over here has a claim with no gold on it, and another guy over here has the $1 billion worth of gold, he shares equal with everybody. He doesn't get any more than the guy over here. You share equally and proportionally according to how many claims you have. And that's the agreement everybody signs to join TMA. Why is the limited power attorney? Well, it's to help TMA become an agent, and also BLM requires the power of attorney, so that's why the power of attorney thing is important. Small minor waiver, we're going to attempt to get a small minor waiver. What that would mean, instead of giving so much money to the BLM, we might be able to have more of it to put into geology and make the claims more valuable. So we'll attempt that. I don't know if we can get through with that, but we'll try go through with it to get the small minor waiver for those that have 10 claims or less. Okay, here's a law. It's a law still in effect. American citizen, locatable mineral, land open for location. You go out on BLM or Forest Service land and stake a claim. And that's yours. That's 100% owner. All you have to do is pay the BLM their fee annually, and you have 100% of the mineral rights, whatever minerals on that piece of land, for 20 acres. Each claim is 20 acres. Okay. To find the locatable minerals, this is what I've done for the last 40 years. That shows kind of the data that I've collected. I showed some of that data to Exxon 7 years ago, and Exxon said it would take Exxon several decades and several $1 billion to duplicate this data set. And I didn't even show all the data to them. So that's the data we use to find these locatable minerals. I took all my samples and stored them in there's a sample barn up in Heiko. That's where we store them. This Larry McMaster, one of a geologist, you can see the samples there. We got 16 tons of rock in our sample library, and that's what we're analyzing to find the minerals. Now I sample all these rocks. I'm an oil geologist. I sample all these shells looking for oil, and recently we analyzed them with XR analyzers, and we found that they're loaded with gold and silver and all these critical minerals that America needs. I didn't know I was sampling for minerals when I took the samples. But we analyzed, there's a handheld XRF analyzer. That tells you when you hit a rock with that, it gives you an instant readout of all the elements within that rock and how much of that element in there. Here's a periodic table. All the ones that are circled in red, that's the critical minerals that America needs. Most of it we get from China. Also, there's some precious metals in there. But some of these minerals we get from China are essential for our military installations. Without Chinese rare earths, we can't fly our F-16s or our nuclear submarines. Not a good position. We have a war with Taiwan. So, but here in Nevada, you can see the number of prospects we found by analyzing some of our samples. We got most of these minerals in Nevada, which is kind of cool. Okay, but we're just going to focus today on gold. Down here, number 18 right here. We have 18 prospects there. Up in northern Nevada, now remember Nevada, mining is the second biggest industry of Nevada, next to gaming. Okay, that's what Nevada was battle-born, is brought in because of the mining industry, silver. Up in northern Nevada, up in the Elko-Carlin Trend, it held the record for the highest gold-producing region of the world, except South Africa, for many years. And the way they process that gold, they dig up the gold ore, they put it in a heap leach, big piles of maybe 100 to 200 feet thick. You pour a cyanide solution over it. Cyanide is the only thing that can dissolve gold. You can't do it with acid, you can't do it with other elements, but cyanide is one way that gold goes into solution. You catch that gold impregnated solution, you run it out into the pond, then you put it over top of activated carbon, and that's how you pull the gold out of these mines up there. The average mine in Nevada is 2 grams per ton. Imagine the amount of tons you have to produce to get an ounce of gold. The cutoff, if it's 0.003 ounces per ton, or grams per ton, it's still commercial. Imagine how many tons of gold you have to get 0.003 grams per ton. That's a lot of material you have to put in these cyanide things. But the good news is the Lord already did the cyanide leach pad for us. Let's talk about that. Again, as an oil geologist, whenever you take these organic shells and you put them under heat and pressure, you generate hydrocarbons, you generate a lot of methane gas, a lot of hydrogen, but you also generate cyanide. Okay, now that's an important thing. Now think about it. These rocks, they've been put under heat and pressure. You got about 40,000 feet of a leach pad put under heat and pressure for 65 million years. That's what I call a super leach pad. That's the Lord's leach pad. Okay, so when these cyanide solutions have been going through these rocks for 65 million years, it picks up a lot of gold. And then when that gold hits activated carbon, oil, it drops out. Let me show you something. So here's just one of those shales. That shale has enough organic material to generate trillions of barrels of oil. That's a lot of oil, especially $100 a barrel if you get that price there. And a lot of the oil migrated over here to eastern Nevada. We got a little bit captured here. There's 700 million barrels we're producing right here. It's already produced about 7 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. All the power that runs the power of Las Vegas comes from that gas field up there, and there's a pipeline that comes all the way down through Las Vegas to LA. And that's the power for Las Vegas. About 85% of Nevada's power comes from the gases that are generated from these things. But also, in addition to the oil, it's billions of barrels of cyanide going through all these rocks for 65 million years. Well, as this oil migrates toward Utah, you get a lot of places in here where if it hits oil, where the cyanide solution hits oil, and that's where the gold will hang up. Here's what we found. Analyze our shales. Now these are just some of the samples. This is the gold values. Remember, our lowest one here, 2.92, is higher than the average gold mine in Nevada. Think about that. We found more gold than the producing gold mines in Nevada. And our worst one is even higher than the average of the producing gold mines. Some of these are pretty high values. There's one at 101 parts, that's 101 grams per ton, extremely rich. That's the piece of gold ore I promised to give you. If you'll right fill it, that thing will get you a piece of slice that gold ore. Okay, so we have 35 gold prospects. But just a few weeks ago, I was looking at some of our analysis. We're coming back from doing this. All these red ones in here are duds, but there's 2 values right here. I go, whoa, look at that. 5 and 8 parts or grams per ton. That's super high grade. I think there's going to be more gold along that fault. This fault right here controls the oil coming up through there. And by the way, when I hit those rocks, I could smell the oil. That's the activated carbon that the cyanide solution hits and drops out. Well, here's what we found. We went back and took some more samples. We've got 30 samples now. It's probably the largest gold mine in Nevada. Let me say that again. The Carlin Trend now has produced about 100 million ounces of gold. This new gold deposit we just found has about 100 million ounces of gold. Today's price of gold is about almost $2,200 an ounce. That's worth a lot of money. And so there's our prospect number. That's just 28 of 35. Okay, we got more prospects to look at. That's just the beginning. So here's those two samples we took. If it's just 6 by 6 yards thick and 16 miles long, that's almost 300 ounces of gold. But here's what we want to high grade. These are the most important claims we want to stake. There's 345 claims, critical claims. But if we look at that, if that thing's 60 by 60, which is more correct, we're looking at about 30 million ounces of gold. But it gets better. Okay, you'll obviously say, well, what is a mining claim? How big is a mining claim? The law says a mining claim has to be 600 feet by 1,500 feet. So there's 10 mining claims there. And that's the way you can stake them there. We got locatable minerals, and this happens to be vanadium. By the way, vanadium is a very important element for green energy. But so there's the size of mining claims. And what do you get for return on investment? Well, the other thing too is, if you notice here, this is yellow right here. That means that's a BLM ground. This ground over here, this is the Forest Service. So you can stake claims on BLM and Forest Service ground. And as soon as you stake that claim, you own it. It's pretty cool. just like a homestead. You own it. Okay, you own those mineral rights. Okay, here's how you make money on it. You get a proportionate share of the income if we sell or lease the claims. TMA sells or leases the claims. We get a proportionate share of the net smelter reserve. That's the royalty. I'll show you what that means in a minute. Then you get a referral fee. If you have 10 claims, you get 10% referral. So if you bring in a guy that will take 1,000 claims, you just made yourself $100,000 just on referral fees. Pretty cool. Okay. And then, so here's those two samples. Here's 6 claims we just staked a couple weeks ago. As soon as I finished that talk up in Cedar City, I jumped on a car and went over and met with a geologist. Went out and staked these 6 claims. There's those 2 hot samples we found. And so there's 6 claims there. Here's the guys we staked it for. Paul Haight. You guys from TMA remember last year Paul Haight came to introduce me as a speaker. He was a 1960s gold medalist. He called me up about 3 weeks ago and says, Alan, I want the first claim. Put me on it. So Paul Haight's name is now on there. Paul just sent me an email last Sunday. I've got 20 more guys. I got the other 4 guys as a gold medalist and their sons want to join with us, besides a bunch of other friends and his family. So Paul's already heard 20 people, 1 claim or up to 10 claims each. So there's a bunch of people that he just referred to just a couple days ago. Okay, we also staked 5 claims for Alan Mays. He owns a oil company and over in Illinois. And he says, I want to be the next guy that has these claims. So we got 6 claims for those guys, but we still got a lot of claims to go. We want to stake thousands of them. So it'll cost about $4 million to stake all the claims along this project here. It's 2,500 claims. And by the way, we just found out we have the thing expanded beyond that area, so we're going to have to extend it. It'll probably be 3,500 claims we get done. As soon as we get done here, I'm going to go to Costco, get some supplies. I'm going to head north, and I'm going to be up working the field the rest of the week, get more samples, and it's going to get bigger. Okay, so once we get it staked, we go to a mining company. We're going to ask them for $25 million. This summer, we'll go out and we'll take a backhoe and open it up and trench it and sample it. At that point, they'll be worth $50 million for this one prospect. Remember, there's 35 more of them just like it. And TMM members, all of us, will participate in that depending on how many claims you have. Okay, so here's the potential volume of gold on the 28th prospect. It's 16 miles long. If you multiply that out, it's you see how many cubic yards of gold. You change that to tons. You times that to 5.67. That's the grams per ton. Average sample of 30 samples. You multiply all that out, it comes out to 25 million ounces. And there's 2 bands, so you multiply that by 2. So you got 50 million ounces of gold. $2,000 an ounce, that's $1 billion, $100 billion. That's what TMA is coming up with. And you all can become part of that if you want to. Okay, so if we only have 20,000 claims staked, and we only get $100 billion, that means each claim will be worth $50,000. That'd be a revenue that comes back now it takes 3 or 4 years for these companies to start producing the gold, so you won't get it next year. But within a couple of years, you'll be getting back up to $50,000 if we just have just $100 billion worth of gold. Okay? So the potential return on investment, there's $100 billion. If we do the remaining 35 gold prospects, if they're similar, we're talking about $3 trillion of gold. Now, that's getting big numbers. I can't count that big. But wait, there's more. Okay, Cedar Strat's only analyzed about 1/4 of its samples in the sample library. What happens when we analyze the other 3/4 of the samples, the rest of the samples? Well, it's probably going to at least double. So we're talking about $6 trillion worth of metals. And this is just gold. That's not counting all the other elements. Okay. We found at least 35 of the 50 critical minerals. These are things like vanadium, platinum, and other elements our country desperately needs. Worth a lot of money now. If you watch the price of all these commodities that are going through the sky, well, they could probably at least double it. So now we're talking about $12 trillion. Well, let's talk about the national debt. We're there. Okay. So now one thing that Cedar Strat has, and no other company has, when I did all this for the oil companies, as we measured the strata, I got a gamma ray log of the outcrop that we can correlate with a subcrop. We've got all these oil wells that's drilled in Nevada and Utah. The cuttings are at the repositories in Salt Lake City and Reno. I have my geologists go through those cuttings, analyze them, correlate with the gamma ray log of the well, correlate with the cirrostratus measure section. We'll know where those metal deposits are on the surface. No other entity, mining company or energy company, has the data. I'm the only one that have control of that data. It's digital data, and we can do that. So now we can really multiply the number of what we have there. And by the way, all this mineral stuff is just a precursor to the oil. Once we get a change in administration, we go back into oil exploration in America. That's going to blow these numbers out of the water. Okay, so why could we justify selling that one prospect after we staked the claims for $25 million? Well, if you look at the news just recently, International Minerals, they paid the state of Nevada $25 million to make a bend around their little gold deposit up there because they want to get another 56,000 ounces of gold. They spent $25 million to do that. Well, we're looking at our minimum is 325,000 ounces of gold, a lot more than that. And it's their gold up there is 1 gram per ton. Our gold is 5.6 grams per ton. So if they spent that much money just doing that, we can at least justify $25 million for a prospect. That's where the number comes from. Just from there it is. So there's the contact information if you want to photograph any of that or do that. Levi's recording this presentation. It'll be on our website in the next few weeks. We'll have it on the website if you have it. Now what we'd like to do, we'd like to ask some questions. If anybody has questions, and we'll try to answer those as best we can. And I appreciate all of you coming and taking, let me bore you for a few minutes. It's kind of boring, isn't it? Go ahead.
So how do we know that? How do you know the drilling's going to be started? What company's going to be doing the drilling, and when will that start?
Good question. Okay, when will the companies begin to explore, and how soon will it start? Well, last week I went to Toronto, Canada. They had the international mining conference. That's where all the mining companies in the world came together. There's 40,000 participants, and up there I met a lot of junior mining companies. We want to sell this project to a mining company. I'm not going to do the mining, and the mining company will do the mining. And as soon as we sell it, the 25 million or 50 million, whatever we get out of it, that goes to the members immediately. But we retain a royalty. Okay, the royalty to permit a mine, it takes 1.5 to 2 years just to permit a mine. Then it might be 4 or 5 more years after that before they actually start producing it. So I don't know if that answers your question. So the royalty you would expect to get back for 4 or 5 years or more. But the sale of the mine, we get that back instantly into TMA to the members.
Yeah, but how confident are you that the mining will start within, say, a decade?
Well, the price of gold's going up to the sky. The companies are begging for new gold projects. One of the companies I met up in Canada yesterday, I just talked to the president yesterday, says we're looking all over. We just found we've got $5 million we want to invest in gold projects. So that may happen almost immediately here, and then they're not going to put that kind of money into it unless they can get it to produce as quick as they can. You want to get their return. They want to get their return on investment to their investors, so they're motivated to do it as quick as they possibly can. So that's a good question, though. But no, they're not going to sit back on their haunches and wait. They're going to, because also if we usually what a company do, they'll say, well, we don't want to buy it right now. We'll pay $10 million a year to lease it. After we test it some more, then we want to go ahead and buy it from you. So we're getting some sort of cash coming into the members as lease payments, and that's usually what they do. So we'll make the best deal we can. We'll get the most royalty we can negotiate. And I don't put the number on there because we don't know what that is until we negotiate it. That's a negotiable thing with each mining company. But gold right now is a hot commodity. Watch the gold prices. They're through the roof right now, and they're going to go higher. They're projecting $3,000 an ounce by the end of the year. That's pretty cool. Okay. Any other questions? That's a good question, though. Anybody else? Come on, guys. Got to give me some hard questions.
You might have just answered this, and I probably missed it.
What's that?
You might have just answered this, and I could have just missed it. Why aren't large companies coming in and swooping up these claims?
Because they don't have the data. The big question that came to me, the question is, why aren't the big companies in here right now taking this? A couple things. First thing, Cedar Strat has the only geologic survey of the Great Basin. Nevada's never had a survey. Western Utah never done a survey. In 1984, the oil companies came to me and says, would I continue on the geologic survey that Shell started in the 1950s and 60s? So I've been doing that for 40 years as private information. The mining companies and the energy companies have no access to that unless they go through me. And I have that data. The other thing is, I went to 5 universities, I got 5 degrees. They all teach the wrong geologic model for the Great Basin. They teach the Great Basin's been pulled apart, it's been compressed together. 35 years ago, I had a couple geologists call me up from South Africa, from Anglo Gold. That's the biggest gold mine in the world, in Witwatersrand, South Africa. They called me up and they wanted to come look at some seismic lines while I was working my dissertation there in Denver. And I got them to go on a field trip here to Nevada. 2 things they shared with me. In the Witwatersrand, the biggest gold mine on earth in South Africa, in the tidy fluid inclusions, they have flecks of gold and droplets of oil. Pretty cool thing. That's a secret. Mining companies don't know that very well. The other thing they shared, he says, Alan, if you can understand the plumbing of the Great Basin, you'll find the biggest gold mines on earth. Okay, in other words, if you understand the right geologic model, structural model of the Great Basin, well, all these universities teach the wrong model. All the kids that they hire, all the kids that get hired to these mining companies, go to these companies, they know the wrong model, and they don't know that the Great Basin's been compressed instead of pulled apart. Okay, but Exxon, in 1984, after I'd left Placid Oil, I made a presentation to Exxon. I said, Exxon, it's not extension like your geologists are telling you, it's compression. Exxon, I had enough geologic data to Exxon, I used to work for Exxon. They says, all right, Alan, we're going to test your model. We think you might be right. We're going to test your model. We're going to come out and shoot a $350 million swath seismic survey to image a thrust belt, a compressional belt. And they did that. And they said, Alan, if you're wrong, we're going to destroy your career. If you're right, you're vindicated. I go, oh, shoot. Well, they came out and they shot it. They drilled the Aspen well at Bialco, and sure enough, they found it's a compressional belt. Now we understand the plumbing. Unfortunately, Exxon had 2 things happen. The next spring, they're getting ready to drill 6 more wells around that well they drilled. They would have found the biggest oil fields on earth, except the Valdez thing happened. And Exxon was not allowed to finish what they were getting ready to do. And at the same time, their exploration manager is in charge of all that data and all that information, died. He had a heart attack and died. It went to the grave. The new kids at Exxon have no idea what Exxon had. So nobody else has the data. So that's a good question, though. And the mining companies don't understand about oil generation and migration and association with gold. They don't know that concept. You have to be an oil guy to understand that. So, but thank you for the question. That was a very good question. Go ahead, Rick.
How many samples do you have that the oil companies or the people can find out how much gold is in it? How many samples do you have?
Good question. How many samples are in that barn up there? We have about 6,000 samples that I've taken over the 40 years. We've analyzed about 2,000 of them. So we've got 4 more thousand samples to go. And we don't know how much more gold we're going to find. That may be a lot more than we have right here. We don't know yet until we analyze them. I can't really wait to get to them. I'm excited about doing it. But that's a good question. That's a lot of samples.
And my next question is, are they all over the Great Basin?
Yes. The question is, are these samples taken from all over the Great Basin, all the way from central Utah to Sierra Nevadas is where these samples come from. Most of them in central or eastern Nevada, but a lot of them in western Utah and rest of Nevada. And a little bit of California, a little bit of Idaho.
And then my last question.
Good, go ahead.
Have you been involved with all these samples?
Have I been involved in all these samples? Yeah.
I mean, have you collected them yourself, or have you had other?
Oh no. I've had teams of geologists do this. It's cost. I've gone through millions of dollars hiring teams of geologists to go out and collect these samples. When I worked for Placid Oil Company, I inherited a $200 million stratigraphic database from Shell. I'm the only guy that Shell geologists took out to the field and showed their work in the field. Then when Cedar Strat started, we had our geologists remeasure all those shell sections, those shell measured sections. And where we found a shell, I said to my geologist, I want a sample of that. So that's where these 16 tons of rock in my sample library came from, was my geologist out there collecting it. It cost me millions of dollars to do that. It wasn't cheap. but we got it done. We did it. It was fun. Okay, that's good questions. Any other questions? You guys ask good questions. And if you want, any of you guys are welcome to go with me out in the field today, this afternoon, or join me in the field. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'd love to share with what I'm doing. A lot of people say when I'm going to retire. I retired the first day I went to work. I love what I do. I have fun.
You got a couple of dirt bikes?
I got a whole fleet of babies.
Do you guys ride the helicopter?
Actually in a couple of weeks we're going to have a helicopter come out and do some gravity surveys, and it's going to have to be done by helicopter support, and also mining claims. Some of those have to be done by helicopter. So yes, we use helicopters. In the wilderness areas, we have to use. I used outfitters out of Wyoming come down with cowboys, and we take horses back into the wilderness areas to do our geologic work. Nothing stops me. Just go. Just have fun. If it ain't fun, don't do it. Okay. Good questions, though. You guys ask good questions. Any other questions? Boy, you guys are easy. My goodness. Go ahead.
For us lay people that don't know all that stuff about geology, could you give an example of if we bought, let's say, 1 or 5, what that's going to cost us out of pocket when nothing happens, during the years that nothing's happening on the land?
Okay, good question. So let's say you get to buy 5 claims. So that's $1,000 a claim. That'd be $5,000. Okay. And then the first year, so if you bought them this year, you don't have to do anything until 2025. You don't have to put any more money into it.
Okay.
In 2025, then you have to put the $350 per claim annually to maintain it. Yes, annually to maintain those claims. Okay, and if you don't pay that, then the TMA takes the claims from you and give them to somebody else. Okay, if you don't pay the annual work on it. Hopefully by then we'll have some money flowing in that you'll more than pay for the claims.
So whether you buy 1 or 1,000, it's $350 a year to own that claim.
Well, it's $1,000 a claim, $350 a year, up to the first 1,000 claims.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if you come in and bought number 2001 claim, you're going to pay $2,000 a claim plus $500 a year.
I see.
So it goes up for the next guy. The founding members get a break. That's the guys that come in first. The first 1,000 founding members have a break. And like I say, Paul Haight with his people, they'll probably buy a couple hundred claims here in the next couple of weeks. So that's just that one guy. So, and the more people you refer, you make money on referrals. If you know people, just stick them on it.
Who does the maintenance fee go to?
Who's what go to?
Who does the maintenance fee go to?
Okay, the maintenance fee goes to the BLM. That's a law, a regulation they pass. Technically, according to the Constitution of America, there should be no BLM. They have usurped authority and taken over the lands. Each state should have sovereignty over its own land. So it's really illegal to have federal forest and federal BLM land. But we have to deal with it right now, and right now we have to pay them temporarily until we get the law changed. Now, Utah just 3 weeks ago passed a law for sovereignty. If they don't like what BLM does, they just says, get out of here. Okay, so they finally got smart. I don't know if you ever heard of the Sagebrush Rebellion. I was part of that. Okay, when I first started Cedar Stratton in '84, my mentor, Ely, Nevada, was an old realtor that did his master's at Texas A&M on the legality of federal lands. And he went through and analyzed the Constitution very carefully, lots of documentation. And according to the Constitution of America, the federal government can only have 2 kinds of land: military bases, post offices. That's it. So all this other stuff they've done over the years is stuff beyond the Constitution. So we had a consortium of Western states all joined together, and we're getting ready to take it to the Supreme Court to get back to the Constitution. We had a bad senator here, Harry Reid, killed the whole thing. Otherwise, Nevada could have been sovereign over its own land instead of 85% being controlled by the feds that don't know what they're doing. So one way we can get some of this land away from the feds, some control, is use the 1872 mining law and take it away. Biden right now is trying to do away with this law. We want to go out there and get those claims staked and get it grandfathered in before he can mess around with us. Because he doesn't want he wants to have control. It's called control. And having control is not going to help America. We need those minerals now for this country. Okay.
Can these claims just be nationalized?
With a bloody revolution, yeah. We could have a civil war. Okay. You mean you could go up and take the claims away from Newmont and Barrick? Are you kidding? That's the second biggest income for the state of Nevada. You think Nevada's going to put up with that? Or you think Alaska would put up with that? In the western states? No. There'd be a revolution. If you nationalize it, I guess, I don't know with our government now, anything can happen now. But anyway, that's a good question though, but I'm not going to step into that one. Okay, go ahead. Any other questions? You guys are good. But anyway, you're welcome to come out and see what we're doing. You're welcome out and see what we're doing. On the website, Levi prepared a presentation on how we stake a mining claim. We had Larry go out and he's out staking the claim, and Levi did a real good job of putting that together. He's also on that same video. You can see more side of the barn there, the sample library. So he did a great job. You can go to the website and see those when we get on post on the website and see what we do. Or you can go in the field with me. I'd rather have you just come to the field with me. If you like dirt bikes, it's even more fun. All right. Any other questions? You guys are easy. Golly, I thought I was going to have some hard questions. Nobody else? So anyway, and as you have friends, and like Paul Haight, he's had 20 friends and family that joined him. You can make some money on this referral thing. So that's the word is get the word of mouth out as fast as you can to as many people as you can. That's the idea. And the more people that join TMA, the risk for all of us goes down because we have more coverage. We have more chance of finding more deposits of not just gold, but silver and copper and other minerals out here in Nevada. Nevada has some of the richest copper deposits in the world. We have some of the richest, we found a vanadium sample that's 40,000 parts per million. That's 40% vanadium. That's within 5 miles of Las Vegas. That's pretty cool. That could create 1,000 jobs here for this city right now. Instead of being the highest unemployed state of the union, would be the least unemployed. Well, people are begging to come to work here in Nevada because we'll have so many jobs coming in here and lots of opportunities for a lot of people. That's the vision. Okay. Guys, you guys are easy. All right. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on and doing this. And if you like doing this again, I may do it again sometime. This is kind of fun. I enjoy doing this. I don't know. All right. Thank you.